It was just for you, Mr. Boyd.
I knew that, Judge.
All right. Here we go, everybody. So we'll start with Cobb. Lieutenant McDaniel has given me a rotation, and that's the rotation that we will go on. So we're going to start with Cobb if they're here. Are you Mr. Lumpkin? Best you can. Wave your hand at me, Mr. Lumpkin. Like that. All right. Ryan Walsh here for Mr. Lumpkin.
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening.
All right. So we got position. Bostic, you ready?
Yes.
All right. 22 CP 213199. Michael Lumpkin, 109 days without indictment, terroristic threats and act. As of October 15th, there is no bond. Trial.
In regards to Lumpkin, only prior arrest was dismissed, nothing further.
All right. Good.
Yes, Your Honor. He's 46 years old. He's got 2 children. He's married. He lives in Beaufort, Gwinnett County. He works in radio advertising sales. I'm going to be his attorney through the remainder of the case. He has no felony convictions, as you heard. He willingly met with police. Not 100% certain this is even a felony terroristic threats based on the incident report. I haven't received anything else. And I'm just requesting a surety bond in this case.
All right. What says the state?
Judge, the state understands that the defendant is entitled to bond. However, we would ask that it be a high bond, just based on the threats that were made. We'd also ask for no contact with any iHeartRadio business or employee, specifically to include Chris Jones, Garrett Stolt, and Drew Lauter.
All right. Got a number? Got a
I don't
number?
have a number, Judge.
Think of one.
100,000.
Judge, I was going to request a $5,000 bond based on the warrants and the incident report.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay out of Fulton County, sir. The only reason you come to Fulton County is for court or to see your lawyer. Nothing else. Don't get gas. Don't stop at Chick-fil-A. Don't do anything other than go straight to court and leave. All right. Stay away from 1235 Chattahoochee Avenue and any iHeartRadio location. No further contact with any iHeartRadio employees or personnel, including Christopher Jones, Drew Lauter, Lauter, and Garrett Stolt, Stolt. You're going to have to stay out of Fulton County, so you won't have a problem staying away from that address. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with that 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment. You got to turn over the name of your employer to your attorney, who will then turn it over to the state. And you also have to let the ankle monitoring company know your employer. And think about your employer, name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, and the exact location you'll be working. You have to turn that over every single time whenever your schedule comes out, sir. You can't just turn it over once and then go about it. If you don't do that, then you will forfeit your bond and you will probably sit in Rice Street until your trial. Well, it's pretty serious, looks like. $40,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
That concludes
That's all
my
I got,
business.
Mr. Walsh. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Calvin Hartman. Are you there? Wave your hand, Calvin Hartman. Calvin Hartman? No Calvin Hartman yet? All right. What
Good
about
morning, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm here on Calvin Hartman.
he's
Henry
not here
Toller.
yet. He's not here yet. Quinte Sanders. Mr. Sanders, you were here earlier, right? Mr. Sanders, nope.
That's me, Judge.
Mr. Wheat's here. Mr. Wheat, wave your hand. Mr. Wheat. There you go, Mr. Wheat. All right. Ashley Boykin. Ashley Boykin here.
I'm here, Your Honor. Sorry
All
about
right,
that.
that's okay. All right, it's number 7, Bostic, 22 CP 213553. 94 days without indictment. There's no bond as of October the 29th. Got kidnapping, false imprisonment, battery, terroristic threats, and acts. Free trial.
No prior arrest.
All right, go ahead, Miss Boykin.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. My client is pretty young in age. He still resides with his mother. He helps her out with transportation, getting her to and from, just kind of like a general caretaker with her. He's also, or he was at the time, employed. I know that there has been communication with his job as to whether he could come back to that employment. He was working, I believe it was Publix or Kroger, one of those supermarkets. And we are asking that he be given a reasonable bond. I have I do believe that the case, potentially may resolve. I know that the alleged victim, at least it's my understanding that she wants contact, and apparently it was a misunderstanding. I'm not certain, but we'd ask that the prosecutor reach out to her to see what her wishes are. We'd ask for a no violent contact order. He doesn't have any sort of criminal history. This is his first time pretty much being in trouble. And so we would ask that bond be set at a reasonable amount. We'd ask for a signature bond if Your Honor would be inclined to hear it, being that he is quite young and has no priors, does have a home to go to. His mom is, I believe, watching via the YouTube option, and she is requesting that he be allowed to come home, and he's willing to abide by any conditions that Your Honor would set.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor, Eddie Porter for the state. We have good contact with the victim. She was recently contacted by a victim advocate from our office on last Thursday, January 26th. So the state would still request for a no contact order. Your Honor, we are aware that you have read the warrants and the allegations alleged, so we won't belabor the point. However, these are serious allegations. There's numerous victims, not just the named complainant. There was a traffic incident as a result of the conflict. As such, the state believes $25,000 for each count is appropriate for a total of $100,000 bond.
No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with DANIELLA, last name Silva, SILVA. Are there any other victims you want to stay away from?
No, Your Honor, not at this time.
All right. Does he live in Decatur? Ms. Boykin,
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did you say payment indicator?
does he live in Decatur?
Oh, yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
All right.
He lives with his mother.
All right, he can stay out of Fulton County unless he's here for court or to see his lawyer. Can't even stop at the brand new Chick-fil-A right there on Ponce, all right? Can't get gas, don't get a flat tire. Fill up in Decatur, come to court, come to see you, go back to Decatur. He's gonna have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical attention, employment, as long as he supplies you with the name of the employer, schedule, proof of employment, and the exact location he'll be working. He has to advise you, the ankle monitoring company, and you have to provide it to the state. We got 25,000, 25,000, 10,000, and 10,000. 25, 25, 10, and 10. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Ms.
Your Honor,
Boykin.
Your Honor, we would ask for exceptions for church and maintenance such as groceries, haircuts, that sort of thing. I do know that has come up as a concern whenever there's an ankle monitor, that it's very specific. So we'd ask for medical appointments for him or his mother, grooming, the normal. He's allowed to go get food so long as it's not in the court, because he could be on this for could be years, Your Honor.
All right, basic living, but he still has to let the ankle monitoring company know everywhere he goes. But that doesn't mean he goes to McDonald's and spends 3 hours, okay?
Yes, Your Honor, we
All
understand.
right. All right, have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do we have the Jerion Bonner? All right. Let's see. Let's see, who is it? Sean Hoover?
Yes, Your Honor. Good evening.
All right, position 4, Bostic 22 CP 207-737. Marquez Bonner, if I mispronounced that. And it's not just on this case, it's on another case, but he's been in there a total of 578 days without indictment, not necessarily on this one. He's got interference with custody felony. Interference with government property felony, criminal damage to property in second degree. And as of March the 26th on this case, he has no bond. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Bonner, 13 prior arrests, took a first offender on the internet auto theft by receiving stolen property, 2 arrests for probation violation, 1 misdemeanor battery and a simple assault in 2019. He has a prior theft by taking in 2016 and a 2016 aggravated battery by a convicted felon in firearm door. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Hoover.
Yes, Your Honor. As you've already stated, Mr. Bonner was already in on one case when he picked this up, and I believe you've come across this case a number of times now. There's almost 16 different co-defendants in it. It seems like it's going to be a while before we can get this resolved based off of what I've seen with other clients. His mother stays in contact with my office. I'm there shouldn't be any issue with him being out and living with her while we're taking care of everything. And we're just asking for a signature bond of this, Your Honor.
All right, what says the state?
Judge, I didn't hear pretrial mention his 2021 conviction for aggravated assault, which he is serving 2 years of time on, according to the jail website. So he's got to serve the next 2 years in jail on that case either way. So I don't think there's point in giving him a bond at this point. The booking number appears to be that case's original booking number. That's why it says he's been in 500 days.
Wherever that old pesky thing called the law requires me to give him a bond.
Yes, that's true, Your Honor.
Ah, dang it. He's been in over 90 days on this, Miss Nix. Give me a number.
$100,000, Judge.
No
Maybe
drugs
give
unless
you a number.
prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. All right. Sir, if you get out before then, you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, location, and schedule you'll be working, supplied to your lawyer and the ankle monitoring company. Hopefully they can wrap this into your other case and get it done together. So we'll do 10 and 10. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. Thank you, Ms. Hoover.
Thank you, Judge. And I have
Right.
another case, so I'm going to stay, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Jarrell Williams. Jarrell Williams. Just got to find out who's in the booth. Sorry. Antonio Ragland. Y'all got to wave your hand if you hear me. DeAndre Jones. Boom. Miss, you handling this one, Mr. All right. Here we go.
yeah.
All right. 22. It's number 9, Bostic 22 CP 210560. It's DeAndre Marquez Jones, 510 days without indictment, but not just on these charges. As of July the 12th, there is no bond on aggravated assault and riot in a penal institution. Pre-trial.
19 prior arrests. Currently it has open cases 21 CP 202874, aggravated assault on a peace officer, criminal trespass and obstruction. Conviction, took a first offender on a robbery in 08, 3 arrests for probation violation, a misdemeanor, couple of FTAs, 2018 battery on a person over 65 and a prior obstruction.
That it, Bostic?
Yes.
Sorry, you cut out. All right, go ahead, Mr. Olaf. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, thank you, Judge. Yes, Mr. Jones is 33 years old. He's from Atlanta. He is homeless. So we're not sure where he stayed, but my team will get with him and get him to the client services support unit, check for any inmate issues. He's been in for, I guess, according to the warrant on this charge, for about over 204 days, around there. So we would just ask for $15,000 for each charge, Judge.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor, this defendant is entitled to a bond. However, as Madam Pretrial Services indicated, this defendant is a high risk for bond, considering that he has a failure to appear history. So he poses a significant risk of fleeing from the jurisdiction or failing to appear in court when required. It has 3 probation violations, so there is some concerns he won't abide by the court's orders, and has open matters that are related to the matter before the court or has similar charges. Your Honor, the state is aware that you have read the warrant. The injury sustains bleeding on the brain. So this is very significant charges before the court. He just poses a very significant threat or danger to any person and a significant risk of committing new felonies pending trial. Also a significant risk of intimidating witnesses or otherwise obstructing the administration of justice, as he has a previous conviction of that. And the nature of the allegations before the court, they're inmates at Fulton County Jail. For that reason, Your Honor, the state believes that high bond is appropriate in this case. $50,000 for the first count, $50,000 for the second count, Your Honor.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with Tony Stiles, Stiles. So if you get out, you're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, and employment. As long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, schedule, location you'll be working. You can also attend any sort of MH treatment that your lawyer may get you into. You must provide an address where you be living upon bonding out. So work with your lawyer so they will get you an address. I got 40,000 and 15,000, 40,000 and 15,000. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. And may I be excused?
Yes, sir. Stay healthy. Good to see you. DeAndrew King. Nope. Cornelius Broughton.
Judge, I'm here on behalf of DeAndre King.
Nope. Michael Parker. I call your name, wave your hand. Ricardo Watts. Zakia Pye. Boom. William Lyon. All right, here we go. It's number 15, Bostic. 22 CP 209567, 167 days without indictment. There is a $19,000 split bond. So there's no bond on the last count. So we got possession of sawed-off shotgun, sawed-off rifle, machine gun, dangerous weapon or silencer, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, willful obstruction, misdemeanor, unlawful for a person employed by, associated with, criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. Let's see, and that is as of 8/17. Pre-trial.
Only one prior adult arrest.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Lyles.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is age 19 and he spent his entire life here in Atlanta. The address on file is good for him, and that's his mother's address. He's working on his GED through the online Phoenix University, though he finished his high school in 9th grade. He has been working before his arrest at 1-800-Flowers at one of their warehouses, and he can return to that job. And given he's only one previous arrest and he's been in custody for more than 6 months without an indictment, we're requesting $10,000 on count 1 and $10,000 on count 4, or any reasonable amount you believe.
All right. Ooh, go ahead, Ms. Jansen.
Good evening. Good evening, Judge Manning. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Thank you, Judge. Even though this is the case that he is presently before the court on as an adult, he has had an armed robbery, ag assault as a juvenile, August 6, 2019, then December 5th, 2019, entering auto, December 10th, 2019, entering auto, theft by receiving stolen property, ag assault, and gang charge. So this is the second gang case for this defendant. He is escalating in his violence. He is a danger to the community. The state has clearly can show, Your Honor, that his ties to the community are consistently with other gang members, and the crimes that he is committing are not going to stop as he continues to repeat this same pattern, and this is a second gang case. So, Judge, we are asking for $1 million bond on him and no contact with any known member of gangs. Any gang member.
Is there any gang specifically also?
All gangs, Judge.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the statute.
I didn't know if there was one specifically also. I'd like to include those specifically too. All right, let's see. So, Mr. Law, I think that correct me if I'm wrong, he's already posted bond on the first 3, unless rapid bonding came off of that.
I believe so. I can double check if you'd like on Odyssey.
All right, so we got no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 3410 Camp Creek Parkway. You have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, school. What do you know about Mr. Law? You see it yet? Because I didn't see a bond revocation on those first 3.
I'm getting it up now. Yes, I'm still seeing the bond's been posted on the first 3.
Okay. He's still not all right. And no further contact with your co-defendant, Jamerson, 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 McCamey's, McCamey, and Dantes Griffin. No further contact with those 2 co-defendants, and no further contact with any gangs, gang members, gang affiliates, wannabe gang members, anything like that. Okay. And also no replicas of weapons. And he's going to live in Atlanta, Campbellton Road.
Yes, the address on file and on Campbellton Road.
All right. So I'll leave the first 3 as they are, Miss Tracy. That's 17, 1,000, 1,000, and then 300,000 on the last one. Best of luck to you, sir. Thank you, Miss Jansen.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. Lyle. That's it for you.
I have 2 more cases, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see. Let me swap back around here. All right. Do we have Calvin Hartman yet? Wave your hand. No. What about Quinte Sanders? No. Antonio Ragland? DeAndre King? Cornelius Broughton, Michael Parker, Ricardo Watts, Martez Dukes. Okay. These other ones are supposed to be out of jail, right? So I just called out everybody on my calendar. When I call your name, wave your hand. Calvin Hartman. Queontae Sanders. Jarrell Williams. Oh, boom, now we got it. Mr. Laws, here you go. All right, position 11, Bostic 22, CP 211971, Jarrell Williams, 151 days without indictment. There is a $5,000 split bond as of September the 3rd. Conspiracy to commit a felony, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, driving improper erratic lane change, unlawful for a person employed, associated with a criminal street gang, or to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity. Pre-trial.
10 prior arrests, doesn't appear to have any felonies, 3 misdemeanors, couple of probation violation, 2020 battery, family violence, nothing further.
All right, Mr. Laws.
Your Honor, my client is age 23. He's lived in Atlanta his entire life, Georgia rather. He was born in Riverdale, and that's where his family stays.
Frustration.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes the lieutenant doesn't take his, he unmutes himself when he's talking.
Okay. Yeah, so he lives with his parents, 5 siblings, his grandparents, his aunts and uncles all live in the Atlanta area. He has 5 children, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, 2 3-year-olds, and a 1-year-old. 3 live with him, where he's the primary caregiver in their home with their mother. He graduated from 2017 from Stockbridge High School. He's got an HVAC certification from 2020 and is working on UEI and in Morrow as well for certification. He's worked as a surge staffing specialist and site supervisor as a site supervisor at Surge Staffing. And he can return that position once he is released on bond. He was a member at the Atlanta Lighthouse Church, was an active member, and he also volunteers at the Fairview Rec Center with the after-school program and doing maintenance work for them.
So he's going to live in Stockbridge?
His current address is 7545 Tara Road, Jonesboro, which is in Clayton County.
All right. What says the state?
Judge, the state is concerned, in these 9 cycles, he has not gotten a felony until now. The problem is he has a significant violent history, as well as the probation violations, more than one. Most of these other arrests and convictions are domestic violence. He is dangerous to those who he is around and who he's living with. As well as the children. He's also got a danger to the community. So he's got a twofold violent issue. He's now associating in street gang activity and with weapons. In this case, Judge, the state is concerned about this defendant being out and continuing to associate with violent street gang members, despite the other activities that he's engaged in. That were listed by defense counsel. The state would ask on this case, Judge, for a $750,000 bond on the remaining count, no contact with any known gang members as well. Thank you, Judge.
Okay. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with your co-defendant, Tyler Thornton, Thorton. Stay away from 3556 Empire Boulevard Southwest. Not you're gonna stay out of Fulton County unless you're here for court or to see your lawyer. Fill up with gas in Clayton County, come to court, go back. Don't stop for Chick-fil-A. Don't stop. Don't even get on 285. Don't even run out of gas on 285 if you're going up to Cobb County, sir. Don't use the connector. You can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical. Employment, I don't know if you could provide the name of employer, proof of employment, a schedule, and the exact location of that. You have to supply that to the ankle monitoring company and to your lawyer, who would then in turn would provide it to the state. Once again, that ankle monitor would be paid for by the county. No further contact with any gang members. Oh, and no replicas of weapons. I always forget about that. No further contact with any gang members, gang affiliates, gang associates, and anyone from Atlanta Crip gangs in the rolling 60s. Let's see. All right, 10,000, 15,000, 3,000, 350,000. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Let's see. All right, try this one more time. See who we got here now. Calvin Hartman.
Judge Mayor,
Yeah,
it's right.
but
What was the driving improper red at Larry James?
hold on. 10, 15, 3, and 350,000. 3,000. Mr. Sanders. No, Mr. Sanders. Mr. Ragland. No, Mr. Ragland. DeAndrew King. Nope. Cornelius Broughton. Nope. Michael Parker. Wave your hand if you're Michael Parker. There you go, and you can just do that. Appreciate it. All right. Position 5, Bostic. 22 CP 209550. Michael Parker, 243 days out indictment. As of June the 3rd, there is an $87,500 good bond on driving, failure to maintain lane, abandonment of certain drugs, poisons, or controlled substance, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, trafficking in illegal drugs, possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, driving on the wrong side of the road, and failure to yield the right of way to an emergency vehicle. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Parker, 34 prior arrests, 7 felony convictions, 1 misdemeanor, prior convictions for dealing with drugs, 6 arrests for probation violations, 3 FTAs, nothing further.
All right, I remind you, it's 16 grams of crack, 9 grams of marijuana, 80 grams of MDMA. What do you say, Mr. Lyles? Allegedly. Forgot about that.
Of course, Your Honor, allegedly. Yeah, my client is age 40. He's lived in Atlanta his entire life. The address and file is good. He has 4 biological children, 3 boys and a girl, ages 10 to 3, and 1 adopted daughter who's 2 years old, who he adopted as the stepfather. And he's helping the family financially while he's still in jail using his savings. He was working on detailing at doing quick washing, and he can render the job when he bonds out. And he's working as a missionary and feeding homeless and the poor with his church. He has a 10th grade education from McNair High in DeKalb County. And he's working on getting a business set up to his own detailing pressure washing business. We are requesting the court set bond lower to $40,000.
All right, what says the state?
Yes, Your Honor. 88 Porter for the state. This defendant, as Madam Pretrial Services indicated, has 3 failures to appear. So there is a significant risk of this defendant failing to appear in court when required, and 6 probation revocations. So there's some concern that he will not abide by the court's orders. Several felony convictions, some related to drug offenses, Your Honor. 87,500 is an appropriate, fair, and reasonable bond, and should not be disturbed.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed. No, are you finished?
Yeah, there was one more thing I forgot to mention. My client did say that he has been attacked by other inmates while he's in the jail. And so there is a violent aspect of him being the victimized in there.
All right, no drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 836 Cascade Road. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you provide the name of your employment, proof of employment, proof of employer, schedule, the exact location you'll be working. You have to do that on a weekly basis. If that's how you get your schedule, you have to turn it over to your attorney and to your ankle monitoring company. Let's see. You're only allowed to drive between the hours of 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. It's the only time you're allowed to drive, sir. All right, so $250 on count 1, 18,000 on count 2. What's the fine in the city of Atlanta for less marijuana less than an ounce? Is it like $200? $200 on count 3. 20,000 on count 4. 20,000 on count 5. Count 6, 5,000. Count 7, 250, and count 8, 250. $250, $18,000, $200, $20,000, $20,000, $5,000, $250, $250. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth.
What's the driving time?
You can drive between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. All right, let's see. Is Ricardo Watts? Well, we're just gonna see. Martez Dukes. Let me go through this one more time.
That was my final case, Your Honor. May I be excused?
Yes, sir. Have a good evening.
You too.
Calvin Hartman. Queontae Sanders. Antonio Ragland. DeAndrew King.
Antonio Ragland.
Ain't nobody waving their hand, Miss Taylor. You know I have to call the inmate, see who's there. Cornelius Broughton. Ricardo Watts. Martez Dukes. I don't know who y'all are because the rest of the people are just here for modification. Let's see. Unless you hold on a second. Are you, let's see, Shamir Holloway?
Judge, can I say something on that?
Hold on, Miss Taylor. Shamir Holloway.
Good afternoon, Judge. Jason Hasty on behalf of Mr. Holloway.
Been indicted.
Yes, ma'am. That's what we heard, and I just want to make sure, Judge.
Yeah, thank you so much for showing up. I just want to make sure they're not in here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Nicholas Valentino. Sir, a consent bond was signed a few days ago by your lawyer, between your lawyer. Judge Eaton signed it, so you can leave the booth.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused? I was here on behalf of Mr. Valentino.
Yes, ma'am. All right, what about Taquan Watkins? Taquan Watkins. Who in the world is this one man sitting in there? Sir, in 5 North. Who? Okay, let's see. Let me see. You got a couple choices. DeAndre Jones. Is that you?
Judge, announcement on Ragland. Judge on Antonio Ragland, he's on there on a theft by taking. He already has a bond on that. That was a mistake.
So what you saying?
I'm saying that we filed it in on that case. It was a mistake. He's on there for tomorrow on the case we meant to file it in on.
Oh, Ragland?
Okay, right, Ragland, the theft by taking that's on for today. He already bond on that case.
Okay.
Bond hearing on that.
All right, gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Judge.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. I gotta get some more in here. Maybe take it to get them there. 1 second.
Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we're having evidently difficulties trying to get some of these inmates to the floor. Checking back with the deputies on the floor, and they're doing other things like commissary and everything else. So I've expressed to them how it's important for them to be in court. So we just trying to wait till they get in the booths.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and do some of the ones too after we get Mr. Jones here taken care of. We'll take care of the ones that just have the bond motions filed.
Okay, Your Honor.
All
Thank
right,
you.
let's see. State of Georgia versus DeAndre. Wait a minute. Did I just handle DeAndre Jones?
Yes, Your Honor. Bond
I
was-
handled yours, Mr. Jones. You can leave the booth. I handled it. Your lawyer's gone. Have a good evening. You can leave the booth. Bye, sir. You can leave the booth. Your lawyer's gone. They'll call you. Your lawyer will call you. All right, let's see. Is anybody here for the bond? Well, okay, Ms. Rockwell's still hold for her. What about for Willie Carr?
Yes, Judge. Good afternoon. Leah Madden here on behalf of Mr. Carr. I believe he's in the waiting room. I don't know why he wasn't able to figure out how to add his name, but I don't know if we could bring him in now. And also the alleged victim is also on as well. Christy Carr. The only thing that's displayed, Judge, is Zoom user. If you want me to let them in, it's not displayed as a name. So just.
We
so
could
you
try. If it's not him, we're putting him out because you don't get to let in. I don't need somebody bopping in mine like they did Judge Glanville the other day. Zoom user, you gotta turn your camera. Who are you, sir? Take yourself off mute. Take yourself off mute. Take yourself off mute. What's your name?
Willie Carr.
Are you driving?
No, I'm parked.
And Judge, I can't say that is my client.
Okay, all right. Don't drive, Mr. Carr. You start driving, I'll remove you from this meeting, okay?
Oh, no, I'm parked, ma'am.
All right, 22 CP 214322, Willie Carr. He's out on a $50,000 good bond right now on false imprisonment and battery. What I need to know, preach, Rob. Busted.
Sorry, I moved my bush. Willie Carr. Two arrests, only other one is a DUI and failure to maintain lane.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor, just briefly, we're just trying to have this modified from a no contact provision to a no violent contact. The alleged victim in the case is his wife, Miss Christy Carr, and again, as I indicated, she is on the Zoom call. They were living together in the same household. They have a 7-year-old daughter. The incident actually happened back in August, but he was not arrested until November 29th of 2022. I'm not sure if the neighbors called the police, but he didn't even realize there was a warrant outstanding for his arrest. So we're just trying to, again, have it no violent contact. He doesn't have any prior history of violence with his wife or anyone for that matter. She's indicated that she's not in fear of her safety and she wants to be able to communicate with him so he can see his daughter. And again, so they can communicate about their child. And also he was the primary breadwinner. So he's had to arrange for temporary housing, which has been a financial hardship on the family. So we would just ask for no violent contact.
All right, Ms. Carr, if you take yourself off mute and turn your camera on, please. You have to start your camera, Ms. Carr. All right, Ms. Carr, can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear firm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, what says the state on this? Do y'all want to ask Ms. Carr something?
If she wants to make a statement, we'll let her make a statement and then ask questions based on
All
that.
right, go ahead, Ms. Carr.
I didn't actually have a statement. Basically, I would like a non-violent contact. We need to communicate. We have a 7-year-old daughter and we need to make sure she's okay and settled and all of that.
Go ahead, Ms. Nix.
Ms. Carr, what is your relationship with Mr. Carr?
I'm his wife.
Wife, okay. Have you had any contact with him since he was arrested?
No.
Okay. Has anyone asked him on, has anyone asked you on his behalf to ask for no contact to be lifted?
What do you mean? Like his lawyer?
Has he asked anyone to talk to you and ask that you ask the court to have no contact lifted?
No, the last hearing we had, we thought that the judge had a non-violent contact.
Okay. I don't have any other questions, Judge.
You talk about contact, you mean him living there or just being able to talk with each other?
Either.
Well, because in here, here's what concerns me is it said that you stated it's an ongoing issue between yourself and your husband that always end with you being physically assaulted. Your 7-year-old daughter left the location in fear because you stated he would kill Christy.
Was that when the incident happened in August? because that's when, yeah,
Right,
that's
that's
when
the
all that.
August incident where you said, yeah, you asked your kid to leave because you were afraid he would kill you.
Well, he, was pretty intoxicated, so he did say some things that were out of the ordinary, but not in fear of my life. That we could actually communicate and see each other.
All right, let me see here. All right, let's see. All right, here's what I'm gonna make it. And so you have to draft this up, okay? Ms. Madden?
Yes, Judge, that's
Right.
fine.
So you have to put on there that the victim appeared, please, for me. And there'll be no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, period. No further violent contact with Christy Carr, who appeared to testify. Is he gonna stay with you, ma'am?
Well, I've actually moved to another location.
Okay, so is he going to live with you?
No.
Okay. Do you have an address where you're gonna live, sir?
Yes.
What's the
Yes,
address?
ma'am. 6734 Manchester Street.
Okay, so it's the one on the bond condition?
And Judge, if I could, that was their marital home. It's my understanding that they're in the process of actually trying to go through a divorce. I don't know what the status of that is. I don't represent him on the family law matter, but I believe Ms. Carr has relocated to another location and he was going to go back to the marital home, but he has not been living at that address during the pendency of this case since he was told to stay away from that location.
I want to make sure it's the one that's on here, 6743, right in South Fulton?
6734.
Okay. All right, so I'll put you stay there. But of course, provide put this in there too, Ms. Madden. He's to provide a new address in case they sell the marital home during the divorce. It's kind of what I was trying to get at.
Okay, so he will be allowed to return to the marital home, but if it gets sold in the
Right,
interim.
if they sell it, yeah, he'll just need to update his address. Okay, sir, because I'm not gonna make you have to stay there. Okay. So if in the divorce y'all settle it, you can sell it and you don't have to live there. Okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
All right, best of luck to you both.
Thank you, Judge, and I'll get that over to your case manager this evening.
Thank you so much. All right, do we got Danielle Henriquez?
Good evening, Judge.
All right, let's see. So it's position 3 on the bond. It's 22 CP 214305. Danielle Henriquez. It's a $10,000 bond on hindering the apprehension of punishment of a criminal pre-trial.
Nothing to add.
Man, that's a miracle. Go ahead, Mr.
We'll
Brown.
take that.
That's a first.
Judge, Ms. Henriquez is on bond. The no contact provision is with her husband, who is listed as kind of the victim in the bond order of the hindering. He's the person she's accused of hindering. He's in custody on sex crimes, frankly, Your Honor, and represented by counsel. The problem we're having is they are co-owners of a business, which they need kind of joint signatures on some stuff. I don't know if that's going to happen or if he's even going to get out. He's got counsel, at least at this point. He has a bond hearing on February 6th. We're asking that Ms. Henriquez be able to have contact with her husband for the purposes of business matters only, knowing that it can only be done if it doesn't violate his bond either. He may have a condition that prevents that, and it kind of both things would have to happen for them to be able to have that contact.
So will that be going through lawyers typically, or?
Yeah, that's going to be my advice to Ms. Henriquez, just because there is a criminal, the hindering stems from a case where she's kind of a co-defendant with him. So I don't think they need to be having contact necessarily anyway, but if we do need to end up in the same place for signatures or something, I don't want that to set up for a bond revocation. So the other concern I have is that her husband has a lawyer now who entered the case for bond only. So there may be a period where he's pro se after the bond hearing on February 6th. But I imagine if he doesn't bond out, I'm sure he'll be represented by someone, but I am worried about him bonding out and then being pro se for some time while on bond before he's
Okay, I think he has Tracy Dorfman that represents him now.
Yes, and I've been in contact with her, and I think that she's planning on not representing him beyond the bond hearing that I believe is scheduled for February 6th.
Okay, so if you want to write something up that she can have contact with him as long as it goes through you. How about that? That's pretty safe for purposes of handling their business, handling the. winding down or whatever of the business they own together?
Oh, yes, Judge.
Okay, yeah, if you want to write that up, I'll sign it.
All right, Judge, well, who do I submit that to for case manager? Just whoever the calendar comes from, is that right?
Did it come from Ms. Travoria?
I can find out, but
Yes, it came from me. He can submit it to me and I'll get it to you, Judge.
Perfect. Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Henriques. Have a good one. All right, Ms. Edwards, do we have Damalaire Asanic? Okay, help me out, Ms. Edwards.
Yes, Damalaire Asanic, he's present, Judge.
All right, 22 CP 211159, false imprisonment, cruelty in the third. What do you got, pretrial? Number 6.
Who?
Mr. Asanic.
You said number 6?
Number 6 on the bond mod.
Okay, I was looking for, you switched up on me. Nope. Say the name again.
Damalaire Asanic.
Asanic. It's number 6 on that calendar that says 1 through 6.
Nope.
Yep. You want the booking number?
Tell me how you spell his last name.
Asanike.
A-S.
Anike.
A-N-I-K-E.
He's one of the ones that's bonded out. It's on the bond modification calendar. There's 6 of them.
Yeah, I stopped at 5. Oh, that's all he has.
Let me see.
Go ahead, Ms. Edwards.
Your Honor, as you stated, Mr. Asanic is out on bond. This is his wife, Miss Fannie Weaver, that is present here as well. She's the alleged victim in the case. The parties have been married for a while. They have a young daughter who's 5 years old. Mr. Asanic advised his wife that he was, the marriage going through whatever it's going through, and he advised that he wanted a divorce. The relationship is tumultuous, but there's no violent history between the parties. He filed for the divorce May 25th. They argue back and forth between the child, which he contends he's the primary caregiver for the child. Apparently, the child had been sick. Mom took the child, left for a few days, and came back to the house for dad to get her well and was leaving again. And they had an argument, a disagreement about whether the child should leave or not leave. And Mr. Asanic was trying to prevent mom from leaving with the sick child. Mom had already called an Uber driver. The Uber driver pulled up and saw them tussling at the doorway, going back and forth. And she called 911 and pulled out a gun on Mr. Asanic to stop you guys stop it, stop whatever. And so that's kind of how we got here. That's the false imprisonment and the alleged ag assault. And it happened in front of the baby. As I stated, Mr. Asanic and mom were arguing about take the child, don't take the child. And so the bond states that he cannot have any contact with either party. He has no problem with not having any contact with Miss Weaver. The parties are going through the divorce. I filed that on May 25th. And so we are asking for the bond to be modified to allow him to have contact with the child. This incident happened the end of July sometime, June sometime.
August 2nd?
June 22nd.
August 2nd.
June 22nd.
Oh, I got August. Oh, that was when he arrested. Go ahead.
Yes, when he turned himself in. And so, Judge, we're just asking that he can have contact with this child. He hasn't seen the child since that incident date. And again, him and his daughter has a very close relationship. He was the primary caregiver for the baby. As he has is going through immigration and was not permitted to work, he stayed home and provided childcare for the daughter and has a very, very close relationship with her.
There's no defects case, right?
There is no defects case. There was a TPO case that was set aside with the consent, no contact unless and until it was set aside by Your Honor in the criminal case or the judge in the divorce case, which still couldn't trump your bond motion.
All right.
So,
Ms. Nix?
Judge, if Ms. Weaver, I believe, wants to make a statement to Your Honor.
Oh, go ahead, Ms. Weaver. Raise your right hand, Ms. Weaver. Take yourself off mute. Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm military right?
Oh,
You
I'm
swear
sorry.
affirm there you go. Military right. You swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Weaver.
Okay, so first I would like to state that I suffered a concussion, a contusion, and thousands of dollars in medical bills as a result of this incident. We are scared of him. My daughter is in therapy. I do not believe he's reformed in any way, and I even had to file a motion of contempt because he did violate his bond conditions by threatening a friend that's close to me to stay away from me and our daughter. He's been calling doctors' offices when he knows we're there to confirm that we're there, cyber stalking, sending emails to her when he knows he shouldn't be doing that, monitoring her movements at school. And so my fear is if he wasn't afraid to do all of that with bond conditions in place, the bond conditions being modified is just going to make my life hell. I do not believe that he has shown any reason to modify this bond condition. In fact, quite the opposite. On this day, and they keep saying that he's the primary caregiver. He is not the primary caregiver. He's never been the primary caregiver. I'm the primary caregiver. On this day, it was supposed to be a routine errand that we were running. And also, by the way, I wasn't away with the child. He was temporarily staying at his girlfriend's place and would only come to the house to do laundry. And this day happens to be one of the days that he came home to do laundry, and we were going to run an errand, and completely unprovoked, he became manic and started acting crazy. I do not believe that he is okay. And per my understanding, I don't think he's done any anger management. I don't think he's been to a therapist or anything. We're in a very peaceful place right now, and I'm afraid that modifying the bond condition will upset that. Also, with his immigration status, I'm afraid that he's going to take our daughter and leave the country.
Your Honor, may I respond?
Okay, sure.
Your Honor, again, they've had a tumultuous relationship, and there was never any threat of harm from this child. He wants no contact with Miss Weaver whatsoever. He can pick the child up. There has not that, and I represent him in the divorce. I'm not aware of any motion for contempt. I believe there was a motion for contempt stating that he contacted the school. The school sends out automatic pictures, which is how he got a picture of the child, because he's still registered on the school records. He has not attempted to contact Miss Weaver or this child. This baby is 5 years old. There's never been any allegation of him harming this child. Miss Weaver and Mr. Asaniki are going through a very bitter divorce, if you can tell from this hearing. And I don't want this criminal case to be used to get an upper hand in custody or anything to keep him from his child. So we're just asking that he be able to, that the modification so that contact with the baby can be lifted. He doesn't need contact with Miss Weaver. He can pick the child up to and from school.
Ms. Edwards, who's the divorce assigned to? Do you know?
Judge Farmer.
Have they been to their 30-day or anything yet?
We have been to a 30-day judge, and because we had this case, even if we just waited to address custody or not custody, but visitation and parenting time, because there was still a bond condition that said he could have no contact. So we just kind of kicked the can until we got in front of Your Honor to address any type of visitation or contact with the child, because there was still a bond condition that said no contact.
Right. Has there been a guardian assigned, or do you think there's going to be one?
I believe that there will be. We have filed a motion. I believe we filed a motion already for a motion for a guardian ad litem. Your Honor, if you're so inclined, as long as you are willing to lift the no contact, we can still wait for Judge Farmer to issue any type of contact or parenting time with the child, so that it's lifted until and unless Judge Farmer says so he can do his guardian ad litem thing or whatever. But his hands were crossed and tied
because of this.
Because of this, correct.
Ms. Nix, what are you thinking?
Judge
I mean, typically on
Nix.
something like this, Ms. Nix, I will leave this silent and let anything about the child, let whoever, especially since there's divorce, be handled in the family division. Because I mean, sounds like Judge Farmer's probably going to appoint a guardian, ad litem, yada yada yada. So I say, any visitation or contact with the child will follow the family division judge's order.
Yes, ma'am. Just for the record, the state does object to removing the no contact order. The child is listed as a victim, and if not all of the information that Ms. Weaver just gave, Your Honor, just for that reason, the state would object to a no contact order being removed. But based on all the information that Ms. Weaver gave you, I think that there is reason to believe that the defendant is a danger to the child.
So Ms. Weaver, this is a simple question, okay? Listen to my question. Does this child have a passport?
Yes, she does.
Where is the passport?
It is currently with me.
Okay, so you have the passport, so how could he take the child from the country?
Oh, because all you have to do is say the passport was lost and get another one.
Both parents have to sign it.
To replace the lost passport?
You?
Yes, they do.
Also, I would like to respond to the fact that he is not violent. He's basically threatened every member of my family at this
Okay,
point.
I didn't say he wasn't violent. I didn't say, nobody said he wasn't violent or anything like that, okay? So here's what I'll do, Ms. Edwards. I will say that any contact with this child is going to be handled through Judge Farmer in the divorce. How about that? And
I
that
appreciate
way,
it.
that way, if there's a guardian, a guardian can speak more to that. So if you want to just modify it and say that any conditions as far as contact with the child through third party, that will go through Judge. When do y'all have your next hearing?
I'll have to look at my calendar, Judge, but I think it's coming up within.
It is March 30th.
Okay, so it's coming up within a month or so. So by then, and if by chance, who's on the other side, Ms. Edwards?
Deborah Rickles.
If you two want to decide on a guardian or something like that, just send me the order and I'll sign it. And that way the guardian can get to working ahead of time.
Okay, Judge. We will
Then,
definitely send
I'll
both.
feel free to sign. But any contact, still no contact with Miss Weaver.
Correct.
But any contact as far as a child, that'll be handled by through the family division, through the divorce. Okay, Miss Weaver?
Okay.
That way they can do that. And if Miss Edwards and your lawyer come up with a name of a guardian or agree on a guardian, they can send me an order and I'll sign it and the guardian can get to work.
Okay.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you, Judge. May we be excused?
Yes, ma'am. You can just send me the order.
Thank you.
All right, let's see who's in here now. Is it Calvin Hartman? Anybody know who this is? All right, it's Calvin Hartman. All right. We got the lawyer from Calvin.
Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor, I'm here.
All right, here we go. Let's see. We got Calvin Hartman, 22 CP 208577. Calvin Hartman looks like it's what 106 days without indictment. Possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, possession of MDMA, BGCSA, possession of hydrocodone, possession of Schedule 3 controlled substance, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm or an actor in the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. As of August 2nd, there is a $41,250 good bond. So he has a bond. Why are you here again? Free trial. Because this says he made that bond, Mr. Toller. So why are you here again?
I got notice to be here again. I'm not certain, Your Honor. I believe he made bond and been picked up again. I just saw this about 2 hours ago and logged on.
That's all right. If I would have had your, well, I should have called. So, but you've made this one, just Mr. Hartman, the bonding company, second chance bail bond. They haven't came off your bond.
That's
That was
correct,
good to
Judge.
see you, Mr.
It
Toller.
looks, Judge,
Go
it looks to
ahead.
me as though the defendant has two different cases and this one was filed in the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
Because he has made bond on this. He made bond and was released August 9th, 2022, and then was back in custody within 2 months for his new charge.
Do you know the case number on the other one, Mr. Toller?
Oh, the old or the new one? No, I do not.
I have the new one.
I don't know anything about the new arrest.
The new arrest is 22 CP 213291. And this is I believe this is the booking number for that case, but not for the 8507 case.
What are you gonna say, Boston?
I was just gonna give that.
I'm sorry.
that, CP number.
What was that again, please? 22 CP.
22 CP 213291.
Okay. And we know what the day of the arrest was on this one?
Well, hold on.
October 18th, 22.
November 18th. Okay.
What are the charges? 'Cause I don't see it pulling up.
Possession of marijuana with the intent, MDMA with the intent, firearm during, firearm by.
And Judge, on that case, I'm showing he's represented by the public defender, Mr. Rhodes, and that's on the calendar for the 2nd.
Oh, okay. All
All
right.
right. Where Mr. Toller has filed a bond motion in that case.
Okay, well, we will unless you're going on that one there, Mr. Taylor. Have you said he has or has not?
As of today, it's not showing where a bond motion has been filed by Mr. Toller, has been filed by the public defender's office.
Oh, okay, so you're a public defender on the other case, right, Mr. Hartman? Okay, all right, thank you, Mr. Toller. Sorry to bother you, but it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you, Honor.
All right,
Have a good
one.
evening. Bye-bye. Okay.
All right, do we have, thank you, Mr. Hartman, you can leave the meeting. How about, Quinante Sanders? Nope. DeAndrew King, you gotta wave your hand when I hit your name. Cornelius Broughton. Who, DeAndrew King? Cornelius Broughton. DeAndrew King. Somebody was waving.
Your Honor.
Quinante Sanders. All right, there you go. Ooh, there we go. All right, sorry. All right, this is 22 CP 213108. I may be pronouncing it wrong. I do apologize, sir. Quinante Sanders, 112 days without indictment. There's no bond as of October the 12th. Possession of firearm by a convicted felon, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, theft by receiving stolen property, unlawful for a person employed by, associated with criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity, unlawful for a person to commit an offense with the intent to earn, obtain status or increase status with a gang, unlawful for a person who occupies criminal street gang position of organizer, supervisor, or management, unlawful for a person employed by, associated with a criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity, unlawful for a person to commit with intent to obtain, earn, maintain, increase status in a gang, unlawful for a person who occupies a criminal street gang position of organizer, supervisor, management, unlawful for a person employed by or associated with a criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal street gang activity, unlawful for a person to commit the offense with intent to obtain, earn, maintain, or increase status, and once again, unlawful for a person who occupies a criminal street gang position of organizer, supervisor, and management. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Sanders, 11 prior arrests, open case 22 SC 1844685, meth, firearm during firearm by purchase, manufacturing, sale of marijuana, 2 counts, theft by receiving stolen property, terroristic threats, Judge Connor Sally. Recent conviction for misdemeanor terroristic threats, 2 misdemeanor convictions, FBI conviction for unlawful transportation of a firearm in 2017, 1 arrest for probation violation, 2 arrests for parole violation. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Hoover.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Mr. Sanders is 34 years old, Your Honor.
This is my case.
Got Mr. Hoover.
Are you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I've been on this since it started, Judge.
Well, I'm not arguing with you. I just me too. We've all been on it since the start. Let's see. Mr. Hoover, anybody got an entry? Y'all want to rock, paper, scissors over it, or let's see.
I was told to be here because I did have an entry on it. I know now that Mr. Sanders possibly has another open case that I was not aware of. So he may be linked that way.
Let's see.
But my office will gladly step back if you want to move forward with it.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
He
So I don't know
filed an entry in October. Let me see if there's.
I don't know what happened with the paperwork, Judge, but
His entry was filed into this in October, but hold on, let's see. You think there's a newer case, Mr. Hoover?
well, there's an open case.
There's an open case.
Oh,
And I got that one too. And that misdemeanor terroristic threat you just heard about, I did that one.
Well, then I will definitely back out. I'll
Okay.
make sure I'll get a withdrawal signed.
Okay, well, good to see you anyway, Mr. Hoover. Okay, sorry, Mr. Majeski. All right, go ahead, Mr. Majeski.
No problem, Judge. I'm a little behind the 8 ball in this case because we haven't had a preliminary hearing. So all I got to go is on the warrants. And I want to kind of highlight that a little bit. 10 warrants here. 6 of these warrants are for 2 different handguns that were found in a car that, according to the warrants, my client was not occupying when they found them. I don't know what the indicia is for either of these handguns that they were stolen, but it's not listed in the warrants. So basically what we have here, according to these warrants, is a free air sniff of a car that my client was a passenger in, no kind of indication that he knew the guns were there, and no real information about how he was involved in this criminal street gang other than the allegations in the warrants, which are duplicative for each weapon. So having said all that, I don't think he really poses any kind of a danger to the community because despite the somewhat graphic allegations in the warrants, they're very slim on facts to support any of these. By contrast, he's a lifelong resident of Atlanta. His entire family lives here. He's got 3 kids that he does support. He's got several different businesses, legitimate businesses that he owns and operates, including a clothing line, a logistics company, and a car selling business. He's pretty much a serial entrepreneur. The last case that he had, the terroristic threat, started off as a felony. I got it reduced to a misdemeanor because there was really no evidence that that even happened. And the open case that he has, we expect to resolve as well. Judge, he's not a flight risk. He always shows up for court. He's made every court appearance I've been involved with for the past 3 years. It's taken for those 2 cases to get to court. And we just ask you to set a reasonable bond. I understand the nature of the charges and his criminal history might be kind of concerning. So I always like to ask for a reasonable bond. In this case, based on the fact that there's no allegation to use these guns, no real facts to support that he is the leader of a criminal street gang, no information to say that he knew these guns were stolen, and nothing to say that he was really having anything to do with these guns other than being in a car. Yeah, I think $60,000 is good on this one, Judge.
All right, Ms. Jansen?
Your Honor, serial entrepreneur is a very interesting way to describe criminal street gang activity. I hadn't heard that one yet, but Judge, Mr. Sanders has a long history. He has reached the pinnacle. He's a high-ranking leader of the Goodfellas gang. He is extremely dangerous to the community. He has, as pretrial told Your Honor, 2 parole violations. He started out in 2008 with an armed robbery assault, 2 parole violations. He's a convicted felon, so he shouldn't be around firearms at all, let alone stolen firearms. He does have another open case besides this one. He was, I believe it was just last week, found in the jail with a contraband cell phone. He has almost every one of his charges has involved firearms. The state believes that he poses a significant threat to the safety of the community. His main ties, his most important ties to him are those of his fellow street gang members and subordinates in his gang. The state would ask for the court to ask the court for a $1.5 million bond. The state would also ask that he have no contact with known gang associates or members of any gang, including his own. Thank you, Judge.
And Judge, just to briefly respond, I understand what the state's saying, but there's still.
Judge, I would object because this is, now we're going outside of the procedure. We could go back and forth all day, but Mr. Matusky's had his opportunity. We're here for a bond hearing.
Typically on motions, we're allowed to open and close. It's the way we've always been doing it as far as I've been doing it.
Go ahead quickly, go ahead.
Okay, once again, they're just allegations, and if he was that much of a danger to the community, they could have indicted him. And also, the mere possession of firearms, if there's a danger to the community, there's really nothing in there saying he's ever used them. So I just wanted to point that out, Judge.
All right.
Your Honor, I'll remind the court that aggravated assault and armed robbery are using a firearm.
Yeah, about 10, 12, 15 years ago. Nothing in the current charges or the recent charges suggests that.
All right, so so if there's a motion to get it in for a prelim, then we'll get it on, let's see. I don't know if I see a motion for a prelim. Hold on, mine's slow coming up. Have you filed a motion for a prelim yet on this? Because I don't think that I see one here.
Judge, I didn't see where one was filed, only a motion for a bond.
Yeah. I don't see where there's a motion for a prelim though, Mr. Majeski. If you want to file it, we can get you in on a prelim. We're doing them 5 days a week. Let's see. Is he going to live in Fairburn?
No, Judge. He lives here in Atlanta, 21229 MLK.
Okay. All right. No drugs unless prescribed. No alcohol. No weapons. Stay away from 239 Ponce de Leon. That's the Boogaloo Lounge. No further contact with your co-defendant, Zacharias Sanders. No further contact with Lewis W.E. WENCES, WENCES. That's your alleged victim. You're gonna have ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, and medical. No replicas of weapons. No replicas of weapons. Always forget that one. No further contact with any gang member, associate, officer affiliated with any gang, especially the Goodfellas and that's GF and only my family, OMF gang, or any other gang in the United States of America or any other place located here. 20,000 on possession of firearm by a convicted felon, 20,000 on the possession of firearm by a convicted felon, theft by receiver, stolen property, 15, and then 250,000 on each gang charge. You got that, Miss Tracy? I have. Thank you, Miss Tracy. Best of luck to you, sir. Mr. Majeski, if you want to file that and this one and the other one you're talking about, we'll get you down for a prelim.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, I believe that completes my business before the court tonight. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Yep, I think it is. That's the only one I see. Thank you. Have a good evening.
See you later this week. Thanks, Judge.
All right. Let's see now who we got here. One person. Martez Dukes. All right.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Dukes.
Gotcha. All right. This is one Bostic 22 CP 211001. Let's see. 187 days without indictment. Got aggravated assault, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission of or attempt to commit certain felonies, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, possession of cocaine, possession of MDMA, possession of methamphetamines, possession of Schedule 4 controlled substance, possession of Schedule 2 controlled substance, possession of Schedule 2 controlled substance, and theft by receiving stolen property. There is $122,000 good bond as of January the 9th. Why is this still on? Oh, this is just correct number 6, right? Possession of MDMA,
Yes.
which should be, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be methamphetamine, right?
So, yeah, and exactly. And the aggregate, I believe the bond was supposed to be 107 and somehow it came out to 112.
Let's see. Did I do this in a prelim or a bond?
At a bond.
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that stack up. Okay, 1 second.
All right.
Ms. Robinson.
LT, I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call, LT.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's see. Let me look at this one. All right, so what I did before, so the second MDMA should be methamphetamines, correct?
That's correct, Judge. You've been corrected in the system.
So I got 10,000, 2,000, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 15,000, 5,000. This should be like 217, 217, 5. Yeah, it should be 217,500. That was put because somebody put it at 5,000. That last one was 500. That was probably my accent. You got it, Miss Tracy?
So theft by receiving is 500.
Right, is that right?
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Tracy.
You're welcome.
All right, there you go, Mr. Jerome. Oh, you're still on mute.
I said, is it going to be 112.5?
Yes, sir. No, it's 17. Shit. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I threw it down. Wait a minute.
Because yeah, it's 10,000, 2,000, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the charges is 15,000, and the last charge is 500. So that is 90, 105. Unless I'm missing something here.
Hold on. Let me break out my calculator.
All right.
So it's 1,000. Oh yeah, 1,100. Shoot, 117,500. 117,500.
All right. 117,500.
Yep, 117,500.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right, now we got DeAndrew King, Cornelius Broughton, Ricardo Watts. So Serge, you're the only one left. So I got DeAndrew King, Cornelius Broughton. Let's see, unless you are this other one that was taken off, which would be Taquan Watkins, Shamir Holloway, Taquan Watkins. No. Let's see.
Your Honor, one of them's been moved from the floor, so I need to call the floor he's on and get him into the booth.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out who this is in 5 North. DeAndrew King.
Judge, do you want me to unmute to see if he could get his
Yeah,
name?
see if he says it was, because I've rattled through everybody. Are you Nicholas Valentino? Hey, he's talking. What's your name, sir?
Antonio Ragland.
Oh, okay. So Miss Taylor, yours is going to be on, is it tomorrow night, Miss Robinson?
That's correct, Judge.
Yes, so yours is going to be on tomorrow night.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So we got 3 left. Let's see, we got a couple bond modifications left. Let's see if we can hear them. What about? Let me get my stuff in order here. What about Mr. West? How about on yours? Is your guy here?
He is, Judge.
All right, let's see. It's position 4 on that bond modification. It's 22 CP 213890. Alexander Akoku, I think it's he's out on a $40,000 bond, ag assault, false imprisonment, and battery. What do you got? Free trial.
Yeah, Judge. So
I gotta hear. Let me hear from Bostic first. Go ahead. Free
Okay.
trial.
Authorized, nothing to add.
All right, go ahead, Mr. West.
yeah, Judge. So he's been out on bond since the bond was placed. He has come to me and asked me because of the difficulties with being able to get employment and some opportunities he's had to see if he can get this ankle monitor off of him. We also, I also got I think you should have an Exhibit A to my motion, which is an affidavit from a purported victim in the case, who's indicated that she has no objection to the removal of the ankle monitor. He's made no attempt to violate the terms of the bond in any way, shape, or form, including the no contact directly or indirectly. So this is basically just to allow him to pursue employment opportunities that he hasn't had. And if you need to hear from him, I don't mind you asking him any questions.
Ms. Nix.
Judge State objects to removing the ankle monitor. The defendant is charged with aggravated assault, strangulation, false imprisonment, and battery. These are violent and serious charges. The this occurred, as I'm sure you have read the warrant, in a public place. And based on that, I think that shows that the defendant is a danger to not only the victim, but also to the community. And so the state objects to their ankle monitor being removed.
So Mr. West, I've talked about this with a few other people. So I tell you what, I could give him an option.
Mhm.
So if he wants to pay for it, and if you want to negotiate, it's supposed to be the same price as the ankle monitor, which is $4 a day, 6, 7, somewhere around in there. There's a thing that's called Talatrix. If he wants to pay for it, it looks more like a
It's a
smartwatch.
wristwatch. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a wristwatch. It's like
Right.
100, I think it's $100 a month.
I think it's the same amount as here, but the thing is, that they're not vendors yet, so I can't switch it over to that. But I think if you call them and negotiate them, you can get them with the same price as Orca's paying for the ankle monitors. But this is called, it's Talatrix. Does he want to do that?
Mr. Okoku?
I don't know anything about that. So I mean, I
I
can
mean, it
look
looks like
into
a smart. It looks like it's not like an Apple Watch though. It's one of the other ones that are round. You know, it looks like that with the GPS tracking. And it really, seriously, I mean, I've seen it. Miss, I think Miss Lewis saw it. I know Miss Gaston saw it. It seriously looks like one of the big, you know, if you were, I mean, I used to run marathons. So if you were like a huge marathon runner, distance runner, you would wear one of those. It's got GPS. I mean, it's pretty cool. We actually wore it and put it on and tried it on. And it's honestly no bigger than this, except for the face is like a round face, kind of like the sand, you know, the different ones.
I don't.
I think it's like $7 a day. So it looks no different than you having a watch on. And I think, Ms. Gaston, correct me if I'm wrong, you just sit there and plug it in, and instead of taking it off, it just boop, plugs in. You sit there for a little bit and it charges.
But there's no option in not having a monitor because I haven't had any violent offenses before them.
Yeah, not right now because it just got put on like barely 2 months ago.
But me and the girl do not speak whatsoever, and she's actually like moved. Like there's no, I'm not a danger.
Well, I get
I'm
that.
with children.
And Mr. West made that very clear and made a fantastic argument. I'm very familiar with Mr. West, but I'm giving you that option, or come back in a little bit later. So what would you like to do?
I guess we could do that, Your Honor.
You want to do that Talatrix? So Mr. West, let me give you the number. And they
Judge,
could,
I have the contact, and he actually can register online with that company. They have an online system out of Alpharetta. I can get him the information. I have both the registration information and their pricing sheets.
so you've got that for that Talatrix, right?
I absolutely do. I
Okay.
had someone put on it this morning in Carroll County.
Okay, so you talk with Don Price or whatever?
I didn't speak to them directly. I just have all the information that they provided.
Okay, so you're using it out there, so you don't need me to send it to you.
No, Judge, I can send it directly to him.
Okay, so if you want to do that, so if you want to just send me an order that they could switch out the ankle monitor for that, but that he has to pay for by himself. You want to send me that order and I'll be glad to do it.
Yeah, that'll be great, Judge. My office will prepare that in the morning probably and get that to you.
Okay, and let me know how it goes, because he's trying to get on as a vendor, so I'm really curious, like, and I get the stigma with it on your ankle. I mean, I've seen a couple of people walking down the street in the city and they've been in front of me. So not seen, but I know. So I'm really interested how this works out, because it really does look like just a big, smartwatch. That's honest engine. That's what it looks like. I promise.
Yeah, if that motion or if that order is sent to you and everything is put in place, it can get switched out by tomorrow.
I mean, I don't own Talatrix, so I mean, it may take a couple of days. So I mean, I get the order. I'm really good. I saw them and send them right back. So, depends on how long it takes Talatrix to get to you and them to get the ankle monitor off. So you'd speak with the people at Talatrix. And I mean, I'll be glad to put a direct number in the chat. And if there's any issues, he can the chat pop up.
Well, we'll get the order prepared, Judge, and over to you.
There's a direct number for somebody just in case it goes to that answer thing. So if there's any issues, y'all can work it out with them. But yeah, do let us know, Mr. West. We're curious how it's working.
Yeah, I'll be glad to, Judge.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank you.
evening.
You
I'll
too.
sign the phone again. Okay. And now who do I got in here? Do I have Cornelius Broughton? You got to wave your hand if I call your name. Cornelius Broughton. There you go. Now this is supposed to be Miss Rondon. Is she here or is somebody else going to handle it? There's Miss Rondon. All right. It's number 14, boss. 22 CP 209084. Cornelius Broughton, 597 days. Not on this one in particular. I think it's on another case. Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission of a felony. Or is it, Miss Broughton? There's no bond as of May the 16th. Pre-trial.
In regards to Mr. Broughton, 33 arrests in Georgia, 2 in Alabama, 1 in Tennessee. Currently on probation for aggravated assault, 19 SC 173942, sentenced 3/10/21, 100 days confinement, 4 years, 265 days probation. Also, burglary conviction 3/10/21, sentenced on the same day. Prior firearm by a convicted felon, carrying a concealed weapon, 2018, and financial transaction card theft, 2 counts, financial transaction card fraud, 2 counts, 2016, nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Rondon.
All right, this is Mr. Broughton. He is 36 years old and a lifelong resident of Atlanta. He has his whole family here, including aunts, cousins, the whole gang. He does have a good address on file. That'll be 1047 Kirkwood Avenue. His cousin Courtney lives there. He has completed the 11th grade. He has 2 children, a daughter age 2 and a son age 7. Prior to his incarceration, he was working at a lawn service and he had been at this service for over a year. It is my understanding that he would be able to get his job back upon being released. By my math, he has done 259 days on this case on the calendar. And so we would be asking the court to please set a reasonable bond not to exceed $30,000.
And I'm sorry, I didn't write that. What was the address again? I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is 1047 Kirkwood Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, 30316.
All right. What says the state?
Judge, as you know, this incident occurred while defendant was incarcerated. He also has, I believe he has FTAs and probation revocations. He's shown to the court that he's not going to follow the court's orders. He also has a fugitive from justice hold from Morgan County, Alabama. So he would be going there before if he were to be released. And I believe that that is an FTA over there. So the state objects to a bond being any less than $100,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. No further contact with Collins, last name Dalyne. You're going to have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, employment, as long as you supply the name of your employment, proof of employment, schedule, and exact location you'll be working. Sir, you'll have 48 hours to have that placed on your ankle after you get released from any holds that you have. Ms. Nix, do you know if they've had any contact with the victim? I don't know if I see the victim advocate on this evening.
No, I believe that the victim is another incarcerated individual, which puts some difficulty on us contacting them.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll do 25 and 15, 25,000 and 15. Best of luck to you, sir. You can leave the booth. All right. Now we have DeAndre King. All right.
And Your Honor, I apologize. That was the last case of the night for me. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You as well. Great to see you.
You too. All right. I'm sorry. DeAndre King is number 13, Bostic 22 CP 211410. 173 days on armed robbery with no bond. Pre-trial.
20 prior arrests, prior CWET conviction in 2012. Aggravated assault, robbery, false imprisonment, burglary in 2017. MDMA, purchase, manufacture, sale marijuana, 2017. 2 misdemeanors, 2 arrests for probation violation. Nothing further.
All right. Go ahead. Let's see, where's attorney? There you are. Go ahead, counsel.
Good evening, Judge. How you doing?
Doing well. Good to see you again.
Great. Good to see you too. Yes, Judge. Mr. King has been in jail for well over 90 days without indictment, so he is entitled to a bond. I have been in contact with his wife. He is married, has been married for at least 4 years. They have 6 children together. 3 of them are his, 3 of them are hers. He's the only father that they've ever known. You know, a lot of things have been said about Mr. King, especially during this bond hearing with pretrial, talking about his previous record. But one thing that's consistent about Mr. King that I hear from everybody in his family and people that I talk to, Judge, is that he is a good father. A lot of the charges that he's had in the past have been financial crimes. We are trying to make sure that when he gets out that he does get a legitimate job, because he's a good dad. You know, he's done some things out there and been convicted of some things. But from all the clients that I've dealt with, that's one consistent theme that I hear about him. He will be living back in his home in Atlanta that he's been living in his entire life. He does have significant ties to the community, and he has a reason to come back to court and fight this case and not reoffend. Also, Judge, this was an appointed case for me from the Georgia Public Defender Council. We are trying to subpoena the video from Marta, because we believe that once we get that video, it's going to exonerate him. That video is going to show that he is not the person that they're saying he is, or is the person that did this alleged offense. So, Judge, we're requesting, because he is entitled to a bond and he is financially destitute right now, we're requesting a $30,000 bond on this armed robbery charge.
All right. What says the state?
Yes, Your Honor, Eddie A. Porter for the state. Your Honor, this, as Madam Pretrial Services indicated, this defendant has a similar charge or conviction from 2017, and then 2 parole violations. So there's some concerns that this defendant is a significant threat or danger to any person, to the community, a significant threat and risk of committing new felonies pending trial. Your Honor, as indicated in the warrants, which I know you've read, the allegations that this defendant with 2 other co-defendants, Rashawn Blue and Deion Watts, walked up from behind the victim and pulled a firearm on the victim from behind. As such, Your Honor, our office has had contact with the victim when this case was going through the first appearance process. We have made attempts to contact him as recent as January 30th, which is today, Your Honor. And this defendant has been noted as an Atlanta police repeat offender. As such, the state believes that the bond, even though he's entitled to one, should be no lower than $75,000.
All right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons, no further contact with, spell the name, it's TRE hyphen or accent VELLE McCrae, MCCRAE. Stay away from 870 Mason Turner Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Can have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew, court, lawyer, medical, and employment, as long as you supply the name of your employer, proof of employment, a schedule, the exact location you'll be working. You get to supply that to your attorney and to the ankle monitoring company, sir. No further contact with your co-defendants, LaShawn Blue and Deion Watts, WATTS. $45,000 good bond. Best of luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. That concludes my business, man. Please be excused.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Good to see you again.
You too, Judge.
All right. So we got Ricardo Watts. Ricardo Watts. That's you? Wave your hand if you're Ricardo Watts. All right, there you go. All right. We have, all right, Miss Smith. All right, it's position 8, Bostic. 22 CP 212951, 118 days without indictment. Got a $9,500 good bond as of October the 6th. Possession of controlled one substance, criminal trespass, loitering and prowling, giving a false name to a law enforcement officer, willful obstruction, misdemeanor. Wow.
Extensive arrest history, 30 prior arrests. Open case 22 CP 210158. Obstruction, giving false name. Excuse me. At least 6 felony convictions, 2 misdemeanors, 4 arrests for probation violation, 1 for parole violation. Felony conviction most recent is a 2017 conviction in Cobb County for entering auto, 12 counts. Nothing further.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Your Honor, Mr. Watts, obviously he can't afford the $9,500 bond that was previously granted to him. However, Mr. Watts, he does have a history of drug addiction, to which he is willing and ready to get some type of help for. There's also some mental health issues there for Mr. Watts. He has indicated that he actually checked himself into a hospital in 2022 before this incident occurred, to which he had received a diagnosis of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. I have been trying to get Mr. Watts' help through our case management services. However, because he has a warrant for his parole violation, he doesn't qualify currently. Additionally, Your Honor, Mr. Watts did recently sign a waiver to be transferred for his parole violation. And so it's my understanding that he will be transferred within the next 30 days. And so because of that, we are requesting a UGR to the hold for his parole violation, since he's going to be there. And I mean, he's not going to be getting out soon. So yet he doesn't have anywhere to go. So we don't have to worry about any type of failure to appears. Or in the alternative, Your Honor, we are requesting that a reasonable bond is set not to exceed $3,000, $2,500 for count 1 for the possession, UJR for counts 2 and 3, and $250 each for counts 4 and 5.
All right. Says the state.
Judge, the defendant was on bond for another obstruction of law enforcement and giving false information to law enforcement when arrested for these charges. He is a one-man crime wave, as another judge I used to appear before would say. $9.5 thousand is more than reasonable in this case, and state objects to any modifications.
So he's still gonna live on Perry Boulevard?
I'm sorry, what do you say, Your Honor?
Is he still planning on living in Perry Boulevard?
I'm not sure. I believe he is. Can I just ask him just for one moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
If you can shake your head, yes or no.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? You gonna live on Perry Boulevard?
Yes, he's gonna live there, Your Honor.
Perry Boulevard. I just need a thumbs up or a thumbs down because I can't hear you. Okay, all right. No drugs unless prescribed, no alcohol, no weapons. Stay away from 1775 Givens Avenue Northwest. No further contact with Chris Jackson. You're gonna have an ankle monitor paid for by the county with a 24-hour curfew. Court, lawyer, medical. Looks like he had 11 grams of meth. You're gonna have 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle after you get released from your hold because of that. Looks like that warrant's out of DeKalb County. Do you know if they're gonna come get him, Ms. Smith?
He's supposed to be getting transferred over there. So I'm not sure if it's gonna be by way of them picking him up or not.
Okay, we got 2,500, 2,500, 750, 500, and 250. 2,500, 2,500, 7,500, 750, 500, and 250. You got that, Miss Tracy?
I have it.
All right. So you get 48 hours to have that ankle monitor placed on your ankle, sir. You can leave the booth.
And Your Honor, that concludes my business today. May I be excused?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, have a good.
You too. All right, Ms. Rockwell.
Hi, Judge.
Hey, Ms. Rockwell. Let me get a drink of water, Ms. Rockwell. I know my...
Judge, did y'all let my client in?
Is he on Samsung?
I don't know, but he's in the waiting room, and he'll show you his handsome little face, and he also wants to address the court.
Is that him?
So let me see. Is that Troy? Is that you? If that's you, can you wave?
He don't even have audio. It is okay. Now he's waving. Gotta leave your camera on, sir.
Okay.
All right. You ready, Bostic? It's number one on the bond mod, 22 CP 209655. You got Troy Curb. He's charged with escape. He's out on a $15,000 good bond. Rah!
12 prior arrests. His conviction was from 2017, meth and theft by receiving the street gang.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Rockwell.
Judge, the modification is essentially, and I'll just remind the court, we were here and you told us to come back in January so that we could talk about the removal of the ankle monitor. Could I call him real quick, Judge, so he can tell you a little bit about what's going on? Essentially, the escape was from the TC, the Transition Center. Once he was charged with escape, he was brought back to custody and then went and did serve the rest of his time. He's presently on probation in Douglas County. If I could just have him sign in very briefly. And well, he signed in, just have him address the court.
All right, sir, raise your right hand and not that little fake one. Your real one. There you go. Raise your right hand. You swear firm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Gotta leave your camera on, sir. Can you say yes? Sir?
Can you address the court, Mr. Curb?
Mr. Curb, I need you to say yes, that you swear firm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Mr. Curb.
Mr. Curb, can you turn your audio on so we can hear you? Judge,
I think
does it
he's
look like
frozen.
muted?
He's freezing, Judge.
Oh yeah, all he's doing is raising his hand. He's not connected to audio yet. Let's see.
Okay, Judge, I'll have him sign off and sign back in.
See, my handwriting's horrible. He's probably never going to be able to see my handwriting.
Judge, may I be excused? I'll call him and have him sign back in. We
Yeah,
can't hear
I can
him.
read this. Well,
Judge, I'll call him. I'm gonna,
Okay.
may I be excused?
sure. I will go ahead and remove him. That way he can just log back on. And that's it for you, LT. You can leave if you want to. But you're on mute, LT. You're on mute, LT.
All right, sorry about that, Judge. Lieutenant Cochran said he'll see you tomorrow as well.
All right, see you, LT.
All right.
Judge man,
Yeah, what?
it's me, Tracy. You know I be missing stuff sometimes.
Yeah, you can leave because Renee will have to do this one anyway.
I need bond and bond amount.
I thought you said you had all that.
That's all I didn't get was his bond amounts because I was.
Which one do you need bond amount for?
Number 4. Interference with government
I
and
made
criminal damage.
10 and 10, 20,000 total.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
That it?
Yeah, I just want to verify your bond on, because I came up with like 2 million.
On which one?
The ones with the 250,000 a piece on the criminal street gang.
All right, so I did 20, 15, and then on gang charges, I've got, okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 gang charges, right?
Right.
So that's 2.25 million plus 15,000 plus. So $2,291,000, $2,291,500.
I got 2,305,000.
I got it, okay. 2020 and 15.
That's 55.
Oh, I missed the 15. Okay, there you go. wish Bogle was here.
Yeah.
$2,305 even.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
That's what I just want to confirm, and I can go.
Yes, ma'am, you can. Just you just text me when they're all in there and then we'll wait on Mr. Art. Okay, there he is. Let's see.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, sir, take yourself off mute. Raise your right hand. Take yourself off mute.
Sorry.
Do you swear affirm testimony about the nothing but the truth? Okay, so sir, so whatever. You can't watch on YouTube and testify at the same time.
I'm not on YouTube.
Well, it's feedback. Everything I said.
It's on Bluetooth. That's the only
Take it
way
off
I was
Bluetooth.
able to-
Take it off Bluetooth.
Can you hear me now?
All right, better. You gotta take it off Bluetooth.
Hold
Go
on
ahead,
one
Miss
second,
Ruck.
ma'am.
Hold on a second. Go
Okay.
ahead, Miss Rockwell.
Very quickly, sir, you're under oath and you have to leave your camera on. I'm not sure why the camera keeps cutting off.
Because he turns it off.
Oh, okay. Is he back on? Sir, state your full name, please, for the record. Mr. Curb, state your full name, please, for the record. Judge, do you mind if we just have a 1-week reset? Are y'all doing something tomorrow? I promise I'm halfway through. I just want him to tell you a little bit about his job and remind you, you said come back in January. And he's got real bad psoriasis. And when he gets stressed out, Judge, he's so scared his ankle monitor is going to die that it's causing him to have very bad plaque psoriasis. I'm just saying it's
Oh, I
because
thought
of
you were going to
stress.
say he's stressed out and he can't find the unmute button. That too. Let's see. Do we have a calendar next Monday, Mr. Boyd?
No, Judge, I can reset it for the 27th.
How about that?
I can reset it for the 27th.
Okay. I'd rather do that, Judge, than
Well, you know, Ms. Porter, is it going to be you on the 27th or is it going to be someone else?
It's going to be someone else, Your Honor. We're rotating.
So do you have any idea who it'll be?
No, I don't have an idea at this time.
So who does Ms. Rockwell need to get in touch with to figure out who it's going to be?
She can send that information to me and I can forward it to my supervisor.
Who's your supervisor?
Deputy District Attorney Tom White.
Is he back yet? Because he's been out.
Yes, Your Honor. He returned last week.
All right, so I guess do it to Mr. White or Mr. Hutcherson. How about that? And then see if we can work something out, Renee. I mean, Ms. Rockwell.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Ms. Porter, thank you so much for being patient. We'll see y'all on the 27th.
And I'll send you a notice once I've finalized that calendar this week.
Thank you, Travoria. And Judge, thank you so much. Good to have you back. Happy New Year.
You too. All right, is that it? Can I stop the stream, everybody? Yeah, you probably